Very good morning. My name is Wendy. I'm taking care of the ASEAN Strategic Initiative, been with AWS for 9.5 years. So started off as employee number 7 in AWS Malaysia. Today we have 200 over employees, and also we have actually launched our region in Malaysia. So one of the key things that I do right now is actually building a community and also helping the ecosystem to drive initiative across ASEAN, right? And a very important thing that I see is future talents. So hence, working with university like APU is really a privilege. Last year, we have run a great AI hackathon. Can I have a show of hands? How many of you are involved? All right, very nice. So this is actually one of the greatest event that we have in Malaysia, because we also, or in ASEAN actually, we also won the ASEAN, managed to go into the ASEAN record, all right, book a record. That was a really a privilege, so-called a pride moment for all of us, because it's really a recognition of all the effort that APU have put in with us, right? And also the support from AWS community and also ecosystem as well. All right, so today I will start off with this topic, I think selected for me, building an AI first strategy. Maybe let me take over. Okay. Can I hear? Oh. Yeah. So why now? Maybe I can I press, it will be easier. Yeah. So why now is very important. Why we see why AI is critical and how we can actually build it fast, right? Because what we are seeing is the length of AI can be doubling every 4 months. As you can see now, agentic AI can be replace a lot of our work, right? We can write an application. One of my colleague wrote an application and he has 11 agents, right, behind the scene helping him to monitor every single steps, right, of the whole process. One agent is to do one task, to look at market review, and the other agent is to monitor whether this is validate or not. So he actually have 11 agents behind the scene. And of course, because of the speed is there, and all of us have to actually back up ourselves to actually learn faster and also see how we can compete with AI. However, having said that, there's also a big thing for us. Yeah. And we are seeing that there's a constant reducing in price as well. That's why the tokens now has been reduced more than 100 times year on year. For the past couple of years, actually, you have reduced about 1,000 times, right? So that is where innovation has been very affordable for all of us, right? There's no reason for you not to innovate or not to write any code. So basically, you do not need a permission when you want to build something, right? You can just go to AWS, open a new account, and then you can get some tokens and start building, right? As from education perspective, I think you have a lot of support for building as well. Next slide. Right, so this is one of the example I want to share with you, how we actually work with a very big project in Thailand, right? AFTI is basically AI for FTI. FTI represents Federation Thai Industry. Federation Thai Industry is a very big organization in Thailand. Together with Chamber of Commerce, two associations are basically leading Thailand economy. 40% of Thailand economy are influenced by them, right? And under the FTI, they have more than 5,000 members. And all these members are the manufacturing board of directors and founders. So what they see is AI is important for them to accelerate their supply chain and logistics. And without AI, they basically using a lot of human labor. So this project was actually launched as a POC in 2024, way back in June 2025 last year, and we spent 4 months to actually run a POCs with 25 factories. So we start very small. 25 over 5,000 is very small. The whole Thailand itself has 74,000 factories. That's a lot, right? So we start very small, POC, only focusing on one use case, which is supply chain and logistics. And within 4 months, we're able to complete 17 of the POCs successfully and now deploy into production. So shortly after that, the government say this is awesomely great. what they are doing now is that they awarded us in February 200 factories funding to help 200 factories to go AI. Can you imagine that? So the key message here is you start very small, right? You can start anything very small to confirm your hypothesis and your experiment. And from there, you build faster and then you can accelerate once you know the formula. Next slide. Okay, so how do we organize for innovation? So the first important thing for all of you is really remember about the architecture of it itself is one thing. The other thing is actually on the culture, right? So what happened is for AWS, as you can see, even though we are big right now, but we don't operate like an enterprise. We still day one. We operate like a startup. So all of us in AWS, even my customer or ecosystem, we always start with a small experiment, right? And that's how we started. Yeah. And of course, innovation means how do you maintain your innovation while you're maintaining the scale. So in AWS, as you can see that we have 1.6 million packages shipped out every day. That is Amazon.com, right? So how do we manage that? We actually automate a lot of our process. So you can see maybe some of the video, you can see the yellow robots that go around, and shipping all the parcels, and conveyor belts as well. So we use a lot of video analytics to manage that. And we have 1.5 million active customers using our AWS Lambda every month, right? So Lambda is actually we have a remote so-called access to the services. And we also have billions of Alexa interacting every day, weekly as well, and 200 million average of so-called access viewer in the Prime Video. So constantly you can see AWS or Amazon started with so-called e-commerce, and then we went into Kindle, which is the hardware to read, like a book for you to read. And then we went to Alexa, and then we went into now satellites and low orbits, right? A lot of innovation happened. But one thing that makes it the difference is basically we actually enhance it using based on customer requirements and employee experience as well. So AI has a continually been a core focus for us right now to help customer to improve their experience. Yeah. So experiment at scale at the speed of customer expectations. So how many of you have started using AWS services? Okay, so very good. So if you have not, I will encourage you to start learning, because when you start building your architecture, it's no longer like the old time where you build one big architecture. So right now, what we are doing a lot more is micro services architecture. And later, Yunjun going to share with you agentic as well. So agentic going to be a key thing, especially in AI, to transform how you look at things, right? And also reliability, security, and also task so-called best practices as well. And yeah, the next one. And what I will encourage everyone to do is really think big and start small, and then you scale fast. So what it means is when you have a great idea, start with a small experiment. Once you get it done, then you can start to scale it bigger, right? And yeah. And of course, always remember, as when we have innovation, means we are doing something from scratch, right? If you have not done anything before and nobody have done it before, that is what we call innovation. Something that you built from scratch, and the idea was just an idea. But with this, also you will expect failure. So do not be afraid of failure, because failure will help you to build something better. Example, Alexa. How many of you know that Alexa is actually built from a Fire phone? Right, we started with a phone, but the phone was launched and then we have to wipe it off, right? We spend a lot of money, we wipe it off because we realized that it doesn't work. So we're willing to actually make a loss, but we didn't throw it away. We keep the Alexa engine and we change it to Alexa, right? So that's where we reinvent again. Yeah. Of course, like what I mentioned, we learn from each of our failure, right? Alexa is one of them. And what is the next next step for you, right, is really about number one, think big and be inspired to innovate, and also organize how you want to actually develop it, and then transform and connect. So one key thing is never put your innovation into tasks. If you want to build something, set a goal, set a vision, and then you start building towards that, because it's never a task oriented. As I mentioned later, when we share on agentic AI, you will know what I mean. Yeah. Okay, so the art of real workshop from idea to mini 3 days. So we have something that in a framework that we always talk our customer, right? First thing, you start with ideation. So you work backward from your customer, you write your first press release. So press release is like, imagine tomorrow you say, I want to launch a big robotic solution from APU. And this we're going to serve all the university around the world, right, as a big mission. And who is our customer? Then you write that clearly. And how long do you want to build it? So that is a press release. Imagine this will come up in the press tomorrow. And how do you actually about this is a PR FAQ. So we have a mechanism that actually helps you to break down every single questions that everyone has, right, about what you're going to build. And from there, basically, inception is you're translating this into the solution itself. And then you start to construct and run it appropriately and always manage it in a systematic way. Yeah. So this is one of the framework that we have, we call AI DLC. Any one of you familiar with this? Or any one of you know what is a software development lifecycle, SDLC? Everybody know, right? So this is AI DLC. So what we are doing is basically there is a framework today. If you're building AI, you are translating your ideas into a breakdown or process and construct, when AI can help you to assist the entire cycle. And this will definitely help you to shorten, right? Our customer actually shorten their POC from 3 months to 3 days, right? So I'll strongly encourage you guys to learn about this. Okay. All right. So yeah, I just mentioned this press release, FAQ, and visual. So we can go to the next one. Okay, so and the other mechanism that drives innovation is basically what are the key things that you need to focus. In the past, we always focus on gates, right? Gates, I mean, we define the process, we actually control all the preambles, what can do, what cannot do, right? So when you write a program, you put in a lot of preambles, right? On all the variables, what you can do, what is escalation, exception. So you can think of every single loophole, you will put that in. If not, you move next, right? So if then else, case then, right? So those are the things. On error, resume next or whatever, right? So all those are codes that you write before. But actually for AI, you cannot control that anymore, right? So what you need to do is basically setting guardrails. Guardrails is basically a strategic directions on where it should go, and your data that comes in, how you want to govern them. Security is actually a highest priority as well. So you need to actually put a guardrails around your solution, your AI program, and make sure the hallucinations are minimized. It will happen, but you can minimize by data set. So that's why one of the key things we always mention to our customer is when you build that, you make sure your data are clean, right? Your data ingestion protection, definitely data pipeline has to be built as well, so that you have more clear data. But if you take data from outside, then you get a lot of hallucination, right? Okay. So in summary, basically, for architecture of scaling AI, first thing that you really need is intelligence, which is the brain, right? You know that there's a lot of models outside, right? LLMs today, Anthropics, you have a lot other like a Claude and everything, and all this change in days. Right. Today you have this, tomorrow it will change again. So how AWS is managing is we created something called foundation model, which is Bedrock, right? Bedrock is a foundation model. So you have not used it, try it, and then you can look at any LLM as the time pass and it changes as you need it. And of course, reasoning and planning, and also goal-oriented behavior. So build that. And second thing is the content, right? The content is very important, whereby you will have your role and responsibility, the tools and APIs that will be linking to your AI solutions, and also your data and memory, as I mentioned. The data pipeline is super, super important, right? Always manage your data pipeline. And of course, trust. Trust is basically where you look into the guardrails, security guardrails, how you're going to protect and how you're going to manage it, and how you're going to evaluation feedback as well, right? Because AI can go everywhere if you don't manage it well. So I guess for AI is do not be afraid of it, but basically manage it and control it well. Yeah. And of course, last but not least, I just want to share with this, right? As I mentioned, you always start small. Don't need to start very big, start small, and then you build fast. When you have a process like AI DLC in place, then you can have a framework and mechanism to build. And from there, you can actually accelerate and scale very quickly. That means you are doing multiple jobs already after that, right? So 3 imperative for AI. First thing is very important is people. People is one of the key thing, right? Because people are the one that control what you're building, and the culture in innovation always start from people, right? Do not be afraid of failure, because when you want to innovate, 50% you'll fail, right? And the second is the process. How do you manage the process and guardrail? And of course, using the right technology, and this is where Yong will comes in later to share with you how we can use Kiro and agentic together. Next. All right, I think that's all I have. I hope this session will just give you a glimpse, and while I introduce you to Yong. Yeah.
Thanks, Wendy. So I think Wendy didn't introduce. Because of Wendy, that's why we have the Great Malaysia AI Hackathon. So Wendy is actually the main organizer behind Great Malaysia AI Hackathon, helping Malaysia to get ASEAN record. So yes, please give a round of applause. Louder a bit to Wendy. Yeah, thanks to that, and also started from that hackathon itself, we noticed that the industry and also the university has closer collaboration together with each other. And currently, I think Wendy has also helped in the process of helping APU to apply for the Kiro credits to all of you, and we are actually working in behind for that. So another round of applause for Wendy. Thanks for the free Kiro credits. Yeah, so maybe just a short introduction of myself. I'm Yong. I'm not from APU. I'm from Tunku Abdul Rahman University College, but then all my siblings are actually at APU. So that's why we have the opportunity to collaborate here. And I've been working in AWS for 2.5 years, right? So, and today my title was supposed to be Kiro 101. And 6 months ago, when you asked me to do a presentation of Kiro 101, I was just like, hey, let's just go through the slides of like what Kiro has, this IDE, spec-driven development, all the kind of features itself. But then in these few months, I fly over to different kind of countries, and I noticed that the industry, the companies all across the world are using Kiro differently. That's why I feel like I want to bring back the knowledge back to Malaysia to share with all of you how industry, how companies are using Kiro and merging with agentic, and they are really doing it into a production real world case scenario. So that's my presentation today, from vibe coding to agentic engineering, the new developer skill sets. 4 years ago, I was also sitting at your seat itself, like learning from lecturers like Sir Ahmad to learn about software engineering. At that time, I was learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But at today, who is manually typing HTML, CSS, JavaScript? Raise up your hand. Really? That's good. That's good. So I spent like 1 or 2 months like that. I write my HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and got an A+ for that. Yeah. So, but now my friends simply just AI to wipe everything even nicer than that time. So, what I'm trying to bring out here is actually in this era, the technology is changing very, very, very fast, right? Even like 6 months ago, my slides would be 100% different from today, right? If I want to talk about Kiro 101, right? And because I noticed all of this, and I noticed that it's super important for us to stay at the forefront of technology, because the efficiency that you can get is actually, it's not about 10 or 20%, it's about 5x to 10x. So I wanted to share that I think last 2 weeks, I fly to Philippines to serve one of the major customers in the Philippines itself, guiding them about Kiro. And the things that I'm sharing today is exactly the thing that they are learning at the 2 days workshop, but in a very concise version, like how they are using Kiro, what is actually the skills that they are using, the workflow that they're implementing. And they have more than 100 developers. And I personally spoke to the VP of technology, which is actually the head of technology. They say that in the future, if I want to hire software engineers, I want to hire AI native software engineers who knows how to use AI instead of like following back the traditional way, because they notice that those who knows how to use AI is actually 2 to 3x more efficient or more productive than those who don't know how to use AI. And if someone, VP of tech, head of tech, says the same thing, and also the VP of engineering also says the same thing, right? Kiro is now my best friend. I have been 1 year, doesn't code, but then now I can use Kiro to do a lot of things, right? And he wants 100 of his direct reports to use Kiro to increase the efficiencies. And that's my presentation today. So AI is changing the software. And in 2024, AI serves as an assistant, right? As you can see, it can like auto-complete, give you suggestion. Remember the days of GitHub Copilot, right? So when you write something and then you just click a tab and then it fills up everything for you. At that time, with AI, we are able to increase 10 to 20% of the efficiencies. And when you go to 2025, which is last year, we are actually at the era of agents, right? We are talking about how we can leverage on different kind of agents to help us to speed up our things. And maybe at that time itself, we are experiencing maybe 1 to 2x efficiencies, right? Because now we can leverage on agents to do end-to-end task completion with human in the loop. That's last year. But this year itself is changing again. It's talking about orchestrator. It's talking about autonomy, because now we are talking about how we can set the right boundary and then let the AI to do the work for us. And for us itself, we are now transforming from a software engineer to become an orchestrator, how we can orchestrate different agents to work together by giving them the right prompt. Like this agent should do what, this agent should do what, this agent should do what, and I just control all of them, right? Next steps. And in 2025, Andre Capari says something like this. There's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding. You fully give in to the vibes and you can see stuff appear. So who has heard of the term vibe coding? Raise up your hand. Yeah, so this word actually comes from Andre Capari. And we have using the word vibe coding for the past 2 years, talking to all of our customers, right? Hey, vibe coding, maybe it's a very good way for you to come out a POC, an MVP, right? And they are good and bad, right? So for vibe coding, it's fast prototyping. Platform like Lovable, platform like Replit, platform like all these kind of vibe coding tools, you can easily, like in minutes itself, even without coding knowledge, you can easily build up what I have built 3 years or 2 years ago, like the HTML, CSS website, right? So it's very fast prototyping. You can do it in MVP. But one question is, do company dare to implement a vibe coding product into production? Say a banking customer, Maybank, Petronas, do they really dare to take your vibe coding product and deploy into production to let the entire Malaysia to use? No, right? Why? It's because it breaks at scale, right? When you wipe code, you don't connect with the code itself. You don't know how it underlying it works. So when it breaks itself, what you will do? You just continue to ask the AI, I got this error, can you fix for me? Do company like Maybank and Petronas is able to do that? Or even not to say about all these kind of big companies, we just talk about AWS. AWS don't dare, right? Because vibe coding breaks at scales. And we have a silent tech that I have met someone who don't know how to code and he's able to code everything and push it and post on LinkedIn, right? Hey, I'm able to do this. But then when I asked him some of the key technical question, what tech stack are you using? Node.js, PHP, or anything? I don't know. They don't know because they just vibe it, right? I just go to Lovable and then I just type my prompt. I get all the code and then they just guide me how to push to production, give it a URL. That's it, right? They don't know about the tech stacks. So at this case, if anything happens, when we are serving a real customer itself, how we can fix it, right? They can't fix it. So that's actually the cons that we are seeing from vibe coding. Yeah, next steps. And now I want to talk about agentic engineering. And before I goes into agentic engineering, I just want to share a disclaimer that whatever I'm sharing today is just my personal opinion. I don't represent AWS. Yeah, because the slides is actually, I do it myself with my colleagues here itself. So just wanted to share our knowledge, and AWS, they do have some kind of policies. So yeah, just want to do this disclaimer. And the next one I want to talk about, what is agentic engineering? So same thing. In agentic engineering itself, like what I have just mentioned, nowadays you orchestrate, you don't write, right? So, and of course, this sentence is also dangerous by itself, right? So, what the company wants is actually a ready, production ready code base that you are able to enjoy the speed of vibe coding, but maintain the scalability and security at the enterprise grade level. So that's actually what they want. They want fast, but they want good and quality products, right? So that's how you can actually that's why now Andre Kapari is actually coming with this new term called agentic engineering, because how you can engineer your agents to maintain the quality and also the quality of the software, and at the same time enjoying the speed of a web coding. And haven't yet, sorry. Okay. Yep. Agents handles the heavy lifting, and you maintain the structural control. So that's actually about the idea of agentic engineering. And yeah, next. And just want to do a side-by-side comparison. So vibe coding is actually you give a prompt, you code it, and you hope it works, right? Just pray, I hope it works. But then for agentic engineering itself, you give a spec, you delegate to different kind of agents, and then you do a manual review yourselves. So it's like we are trying to implement all these kind of quality gates itself, so that we can ensure that the outcome is actually meets the high bar of an enterprise grade level. Because nowadays, the barrier of entry into software engineering is super low. I even heard in LinkedIn, someone is actually saying that, hey, actually now computer science, can be easily being replicated by AI. And also I have seen a lot of graphs saying that if AI were there, who is actually the first one to lose the job? Computer science students. Why? Because now AI is super good in coding, right? But then AI can only write MVP as of now. We still need human to make the judgment. We still need human to be there to be the quality gate to ensure that, hey, this is actually production ready itself, and how we can do that at the same time maintaining the quality of software. So, haven't yet, sorry. Okay, so you can see Andre Kapari has mentioned that the best agentic engineers will outperform traditional engineers by 10x. So it's 10x, So which means like for company itself, I hire you, it's actually better, it's almost similar to hiring 10 traditional engineers. And in terms of the cost itself, definitely I hire one AI native software engineer will do, right? That's why the demand for AI native software engineer is actually rising, right? I have met with some of the HR or even the head of IT itself. They tell me that the first question that they ask in the interview room is actually, how often you use AI? How you use AI? You use cursor, codex? How you use it? Is it just like you go there and just give a prompt, and then I know you are actually just a normal users? But if you talk about you are building your own skills, you are replicating all these kind of repetitive tasks, you are using cron jobs in code, then I know that, hey, you seems like you know something, right? Or even when you tell them, I'm actually building my own workflow itself, right? Every time I segregate my tasks into two. One is actually brownfield project, one is actually greenfield project. Greenfield means I build entire thing ground up. Brownfield means I work on existing project. Then I have my workflow to identify if this is greenfield or brownfield. Then after that, I'm going to do read my repo itself if it's a brownfield. Then after that, it comes out the spec for me. Then I'll do what. So this is actually the entire workflow that you are able to do that. And the interviewer tell me that if he can tell me this, I know that he's actually an AI native software engineer, and I will be more keen to hire them. Right? Just working backwards, right? In Amazon itself, we all talking about working backwards. Why you are here? Why you are in a university? You hope that you can learn something so that next time you can come out and get a job, right? So that's why we should work backwards and understand that what the company wants right now, right? So, and we are very fortunate because we are now in an agentic AI era where things are changing very fast. Sometimes the head of IT actually tells me he would prefer to hire someone who are willing to learn AI than hire someone who is experienced enough but don't want to learn. Just always think that the old way will works. So he would like to hire all this kind of like new blood, so-called, so that he's willing to learn AI and bring new kind of experience to the team itself so that it can change. And you remember the example that I shared about the Philippines one? So the head of IT himself, is actually learning codecs by himself and during a weekly meeting, showcasing to 50 to 100 of his teams how to use codecs. Why? Because his team is a bit reluctant to use AI. I have been working for the past 5 years and 10 years, and I know that my traditional way works. Why I want to learn AI and, and I'm not sure whether it will work or not, and things will break. So there are this kind of fight that's actually happening there. So that's why I would say, like, as a students, like all of you, since you know that the traditional ways also, and also at the same time, you know the AI way also, so that you can compare yourselves and be it whatever happens itself, how you can merge both of them together, right? Because the traditional way, you type the code yourself, right? The AI way, you let AI to write it and then you orchestrate it yourself, right? So how can you merge both of them together or actually bring in some changes to the company itself? Like, say, for example, a company who is not using AI, but then you know how to use AI, then you will be like bring new changes to the company really. And this is actually what the head of tech is actually looking forward. And some of the company, they even have a dashboard, right? How many tokens you use, and everyone, there's a leaderboard there. That's why there's new terms called token maxing that's actually happening in the industry. Yeah, just for sharing itself. Yeah, next. So your skills plus agentic engineering, the 10x is in the middle. So if we are talking about now AI can write the code, then what matters the most is the domain knowledge, is your own expertise toward that industry. So that's why even some saying that the best software engineer in the future is not coming from computer science students, I heard, is coming from the industry itself. Like, say, for example, I'm in the finance industry. I've been working there for 10 years. I know the inside out of what a finance industry would need. And then now I got AI. AI can easily help me to write my code. And then the software that I produce can even really address the pinpoint of a financial industry. So that's why the things that I want to share today, one of the key points is actually domain knowledge towards that industry is getting more and more important because the skills of coding itself is starting to be democratized. Everyone can code right now. It's just at a range of good or bad only, right? So for you itself, gain more knowledge, gain more exposure towards different kind of industries, right? If you say that I have very much knowledge in terms of the retail industry, plus with your AI knowledge, you can get 10x, right? With just solely coding itself, your competition is still fierce. So try to get industry exposure, work in different kind of interns companies, understand how things works inside. And then what you can bring inside to the company is actually how you can help the company to adopt AI. Say, for example, hey, do you know that this process that you have been working for the past 5 years or 10 years, you can use AI to automate it. And I can help you to do that. That's the value that you can bring to the company, right? Yeah. And the new developer skill stack. So this is actually my observation. Skills and workflow, agent tooling, spec writing and system design, and your domain expertise. These are the 4 new skill stacks that I noticed that is actually most wanted in the industry itself. And the below 2 is the hardest to automate. You remember I talked about your domain expertise, right? It's about the industry, right? So AI is still general, right? I repeat, AI is still general itself. That's why companies like Anthropic, they come out with different kind of AI, like Claude for small, medium, small business, Claude for financial industry, Claude for I forgot for different kind of industry, Claude for healthcare or lawyer or something like this. So your domain expertise is actually the hardest to automate itself. So if you have your domain knowledge, you are actually winning in one of the role itself. And the second one is actually spec writing in system designs. And that's actually why you are still here studying computer science, right? Because what's the differences between the code that you write and compared to someone who is actually coming from sales, they write the code. Because you understand the system design, you know what is API gateway, you know what is actually the front end and back end, you know what is actually port 442, you know the exact system design, and that's why when things breaks, you know how to fix it. You know what you are building, but they don't know, right? So system design and spec writing is actually the skills that you can master, because when you have all this kind of foundational knowledge, and when you give a prompt to the AI itself, it is more relevant and you can guide the AI to fix the error even faster. So imagine those who don't have any technical knowledge, they just wipe. One thing they scared the most is actually thing breaks, because they don't know how to fix it. They can just take a screenshot and throw into the error. But for you itself, I know roughly why this error 404 works. I know roughly where's the error. Then I can give a more clearer prompt to the AI itself, and the chance of you fixing the bug is actually higher. So that's actually your skills, right? And today, because domain expertise and also the system design, I can't teach in a 30 minutes talk, right? I can't tell you like what financial industry needs. I can't tell you like what the lawyer industry needs. And also I can't tell you like about the system design, what's API gateway, etc., load balancer, etc., right? So today I'll be focusing on the top two, skills and workflows, and also agent tooling. And that's also the two things that I'm actually flying all around the ASEAN countries to give speech to talk about skills and workflow and also agent tooling, right? I've been flying to Sabah, Penang, Philippines, all over the countries to talk about the first two, how company can stay ahead for the first two role. Right. So let's start with agent tooling. So I mean, I still come from AWS. So AWS itself, we have an agent tooling called Kiro. So Kiro is actually an AI IDE. It's just like VS Code. It's just like Cursor. So AWS comes up with its own agent tooling called Kiro itself, and this is actually how it looks like. So the main idea is actually this is an AI IDE where it's actually built grounded up, and it's meant for AI native builders to build prototype into production and IDE into production software. Next. And in Kiro itself, there are a lot of features that I won't be covering. So feel free to like just explore Kiro by yourself. It is just like Cursor itself. If you go there, you see a prompt, right? And then you just type in your prompt there, and that's it. So it's meant to be super user-friendly. And today I want to double down on the concept of Kiro powers. Kiro powers is actually just like skills in Cloud Code, where you can actually collaborate with other people, the skills. So you can see there's actually a community exchange there. So when you have your skills, when other people have their skills, you can actually import their skills into Kiro and use it in your Kiro. And also you can depends on different kind of use cases itself. You can also generate your skills as well and also put inside Kiro so that Kiro can take your skills and implement in your workflow, in your coding workflow itself, right? So that's actually the main idea of Kiro Power. And why we want to have this Kiro Power, what are the benefits? So first thing, targeted content for fast decisions. You can see there's actually a one-click download for IDE use and dynamic loading to avoid context overload, option to customize the Kiro Power. So basically it's like you put in your domain knowledge or you put in your skills, such as maybe code review, security review. You can build your own skills itself and replicate or even share over to your colleagues. Say for example, today's student A, I have built a code review. Today's student B, I have also built a security review skills itself. Then you can exchange. So both people, both students can actually get both of the skills itself, right? And it's super easy to use. It's just one click install will do, right? And also knowledge from ISV and experts. And in GitHub, there are a lot and abundance of skills and workflows outside. So how, if I don't know how to write a slash code review skills or slash security review skills, I can just easily go to GitHub and then just copy their skills and use it in Kiro. How to do that? I will do a run through later, how we can do that, so that you can immediately leverage on others people's knowledge and skills in your Kiro workflow itself. And development to deployment use case, automated code build and deployment, you can use skills to help you to do that. So yep, that's the benefits for Kiro Power. And these are some of the online most popular skills and workflow that you can see. Andre Capari's skills, I think it's close to 100K GitHub stars. GStack, also 100K GitHub stars. ECC, 192K GitHub stars. And also from AWS itself, it's AI DLC workflow, also a few thousand GitHub stars itself. So why am I showing this? It's because the company is also telling me this. Hey, Yongjun, do you know that my team is actually telling me that there's actually these skills and workflow? How can we implement this in Kiro? How can we also leverage our company? We also want to have our own skills and workflow. How can we do that? Right? I mean, anyway, these are actually the skills and workflow coming from these people, right? So it's actually best suit for their use case. But for every company itself, AWS, Petronas, Maybank, or any of the company, they have their own unique use case, right? They have their own unique repetitive tasks that they want to do, right? So that's why I foresee in the future itself, every company will have their own unique skills and workflow customized for their company. And in fact, right now, I have seen more and more customers asking me how to build their own skills and workflow already. Right. So this is just a quick glance that this is actually currently existing in the open source in GitHub where everyone can download. But then I foresee next time when you go into a company itself, they will tell you, hey, this is actually the skills and workflow that our company is adopting. Right. Could you please, it's just MD file, could you please learn it and roughly know what we are doing, then adopt it as well? Yeah, I would foresee that will happen. Right, next. And so the next question is, since we have so many open source skills and workflow out there, question is, what if we can adopt any of these skills and workflow into Kiro? Right, I understand that even though sometimes you notice that, hey, this skill is actually meant for Cloud Code, this skill is actually meant for Codex, right? But then is there a way that we can take all of this to import into Kiro as well? Why I need to use Kiro? Oh, because you know, like my company is using Kiro. Say for example, I know there are quite a number of companies are actually adopting Kiro already, and then the head of head of tech itself, they wanted to standardize everyone to use Kiro, right? So I have to use Kiro, but then I like these skills. So how can I do that, right? So for you, how you want to do that is actually super simple. So in Kiro itself, you'll be looking something like this, vibe or spec. Then you just put this one inside. I'm not sure if every one of you can see, but then it's just like read this GitHub URL, wrap it as a Kiro power for me to use it in Kiro IDE. I just put it this one. I tried it yesterday, it works. Right? So just now I have shared different kind of GitHub links already. And then I just tried with one, which is actually Gary Tan's GStack. And then I asked it to wrap it as a Kiro power, right? After a few minutes, they tell me the power is ready. I've created a Kiro power at this place that wraps the GStack's methodology, right? So it is super easy and nothing hard. I am not teaching about any kind of coding things, but then I'm just sharing that you can use plain English to now implement any of the skills and workflow outside into your Kiro IDE. And once I've seen that they told me that the Kiro power is actually there, and then I just go to Kiro powers and I click try power. After I click the try power, that one is actually AI generate for you or for me, or I can say Kiro generate for me. I just install the Kiro Power G stack and I want to use it. Then it will read the Kiro Power itself, what is actually is needed. Then they notice that, oh, okay, I need to install for you. Then I wait another few minutes. They told me setup completed. So until this step, I didn't do any coding. It's just like plain English where even business users is able to do it, right? And next steps, you even tell me, how can I use this power? As you can see from the GStack skills and workflow itself, they can tell me plan CEO review, plan ENG review, QA, which is actually, and also like ship, CSO, which is actually the security officer, investigate as a debugger. It tell me even a simple example how I can use it itself. Okay, then I just follow it, right? /QA, I can see it's actually for test your app, find and fix any bugs, right? Okay, then I just throw a /QA in Kiro. Then it will automatically activate the skill QA for me, right? And then it will call the MCP tool and just do it on his own. So how this Kiro knows that when you do a /Kiro, it will need to call all these kind of MCP tools to do all the things. This is actually defined by the skill owner, which is actually Gary Tan, right? So that's why I said in open source itself, all of these are actually free to download itself, right? So these smart people has actually come up with all the rules and regulations, which is years of experience, how a QA should looks like, and then they wrap it as a skill and let you to download it freely. That's why there are so many GitHub stars, right? 100K GitHub stars or something like this, right? Because people found it useful, right? So as a student itself, how we can leverage with all those kind of expertise itself and use it for ourselves. Every one of you have to do final year project, right? Every one of you have to do assignment, right? Every one of you have to build, as a computer science, have to build something, some projects, right? Every one of you have to do testing, right? Can we leverage on this to do testing? I mean, you can still go with your way to do testing, and then, but with this option itself, you got two options right now, to do your testing yourself and also to do this. And then you can compare. Did your testing miss out anything? Or if your testing is better than his, then you can come out your own skill as well and push to GitHub saying that, hey, my skill is actually better. Then everyone can use it. And imagine when you go to the interview room saying that I have published this skill and this skill got 100K GitHub stars. Does it make you stand out from the others? Exactly, right? Exactly, right? So that's actually how things are moving so fast. Instead of just resume itself, I got something to prove it to you that I've come up with something, 100 people likes it, 100K of people likes it. That's my skills. That's how I stand out from the others. Thanks. All right. So, and the results itself, when I do a /QA, they say my health score is actually 93 over 100. I found some issue and then I fix it automatically for you and the full report is here. Oh, wow, done easily. And during this time itself, I can do my own QA testing or I can go and grab a cup of coffee. That's actually how we are able to experience a 10x efficiencies, right? By just using skills and workflow. And if QA is just one of the skills itself, what if you can stack different kind of skills together? Say, for example, just now GStack, you can see plan CEO review, right? So now I can plan my own things already. If I want to write a project from scratch itself, maybe I will plan CEO review first. I will requirement gathering first. I will do building the front end first, then maybe I separate different kind of sub agents to do the back end as well. Then after I do already, I need to do code review. I need to do security review. I need to do QA. Then I publish it. I push it. So this is actually the workflow. This is your workflow, right? So, and people are actually sharing their own workflow already. Right, next. And can you build your own skills and workflow? Is it really hard? It's no. I mean, skills and workflow is just MD files. So for those who don't know what is MD file, it's basically just plain English. Just like how you, MD files is just markdown files where you can just put in plain English or what you want to do inside. And I use GStack QA, right? So I just open the QA skills. It's just like that. It's English. And if you are lazy to write the English, you can also ask AI to write for you. Hey, this is actually my idea. And then you do it, review yourself. So is it really hard to write your own skills and workflow? No, because it's just plain English, right? It's not Ruby, some kind of a programming language or Swift that you never encountered before. It's just English. So everyone can write their own skills and workflow for everyone to use. And also for you to enhance your own productivity as well, right? And it's almost close to my presentation already. So I just want to share or give a conclusion of the key takeaways for my sharing today. First of all, vibe coding is now slowly moving towards agentic engineering, right? What I'm showing just now is actually agents. I have my QA engineer to do the /QA for me and how you can merge it into different kind of workflows. And what I've presented just now is actually the best agentic engineers will outperform the traditional engineers by 10x. And you have noticed that how I can leverage on other people's skills, how I can leverage on other people's expertise itself to do a QA for me, right? Maybe I've missed out something. I'm not the best QA as well. But then if I can get the skills from the best QA, I can achieve the same outcome as the best QA. And that's actually how you can do 10x as compared to traditional engineer. And you don't write, but you orchestrate. You understand when to use the /QA, how you can modify your /QA to be better, how you can further enhance your skills to be better, right? And the new developer skill stacks, skills and workflow, agentic tooling, spec writing and system design, and also the domain knowledge, right? What I would suggest is actually you can easily take any of the open source skills and workflow and import as a Kiro power to be used in Kiro. And lastly, treat open source skills and workflow as a baseline and customize on top of it. The last line is super important because that's actually what my Philippine customer is doing. I can't share what is actually they are taking as a baseline, but then they treat it as a baseline and they build everything on top of it. And they come up with their company own skills and workflow where they push it to GitHub. Every new joiner just go in. The first thing is actually to git pull that one. The skills and workflow for them to use. And they have to learn, oh, actually it is. And the requirements for them to push their code and merge their Git branch is actually they have to do all this, follow all this workflow and follow all these skills first. Once all of these skills give a green light to take already, then only we allow the merge to happen to the main branch. And that's actually how, once you are confident with your skills and workflow itself, you can even integrate in your CI/CD pipeline to enhance. And that's how you can maintain a fast speed and also at the same time maintain high bar of quality. Right? Next steps. So lastly, you can get started with Kiro for free, and you can scan the QR code to download Kiro. And thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.